Newsletter, April 4, 2026, The Economist and related special updates. This issue focuses on three main themes: geopolitical strategic gains, the impact of technological change on the labor market, and the role of financial and corporate data in policy research. Strategic calculations in geopolitical conflicts: how China hopes to profit from war. The Economist reports on how war is reshaping China's external environment and windows of opportunity. The articles emphasize that national-level gains are not just reflected in direct economic scale, but rather in the cumulative effects of supply chain restructuring, international bargaining power, regional cooperation, and influence over global rules. The core message: amid prolonged conflict and rising uncertainty, strategic goals prioritize sustainable relative advantage. AI and employment economics links the two more closely. An article in the New York Times notes that an increasing body of research is directly linking the diffusion of AI capabilities to structural changes in jobs. Key discussions include which roles are most susceptible to automation/restructuring, how skill demands are shifting, and the variance in adjustment speeds between firms and workers. The value lies in moving the technological impact from abstract future risk to verifiable employment mechanisms, providing a concrete research foundation for education, labor policy, and corporate transformation. Capital and public policy, addressing institutions and distribution. The Capital Ideas series, or column, on prospect.org continues the discussion on the relationship between capital formation, investment logic, and public policy. The signal is clear: narratives around how capital is allocated and its impact on growth and inequality are connecting with realistic policy tools, emphasizing the use of institutional design and regulatory frameworks to address the tension between capital efficiency and social outcomes. Data and research infrastructure, 20th anniversary of World Bank Enterprise Surveys. The World Bank is hosting the Enterprise Surveys 20th Anniversary Forum and Conference 2026. The significance lies in how large sample corporate data is continuously updated to measure business environments and operational constraints, supporting national-level reforms and evaluations. For policy research, such platforms provide a solid data foundation for cross-country comparisons and causal inference. Academic and financial dynamics, Yale SOM Finance Faculty News. Finance faculty in the news, March from the Yale School of Management aggregates recent developments in the financial academic world. Its value lies in helping readers track the latest intersections between financial research and public discussion, highlighting academic focus areas in macro policy, market mechanisms, and corporate finance. Synthesis: the common thread this week is that whether it is strategic gains in geopolitics, the reshaping of employment by AI, or methods for assessing capital allocation, decision-making is increasingly relying on verifiable chains of evidence, data and research, to explain change, estimate impact, and chart a response. Time Magazine Briefing, April 4, 2026. I think it's time: the inside story of Pam Bondi's ousting. Reports focus on the process and turning points of Bondi's removal, emphasizing the driving forces, decision chains, and the role of public opinion and political maneuvering. The value lies in presenting the underlying logic of why now. Las Vegas Review-Journal to stop printing competitor newspaper. The Las Vegas Review-Journal will cease printing a rival publication. Key points include shifts in the media competitive landscape, adjustments in traditional print strategies, and the impact on local information supply. New cooperative agriculture/grain complex project. News points to a grain complex named New Cooperative. The focus is on integrating resources through cooperative mechanisms to improve efficiency and enhance the resilience of regional agricultural supply chains. C. Thompson Lang, the publisher and civic leader who shaped modern Albuquerque. A retrospective on Lang's life and contributions, highlighting his role in local media and public life. It shows how a publisher can shape a city's development through media platforms and civic engagement. Which themed animation, release dates and schedule. Updates on which related anime, including release dates, broadcast schedules, and episode counts for fans to track. Overall observation: today's content forms a time-themed puzzle ranging from political turnover and media shifts to industrial cooperation and urban legacy. The logic remains: in various fields, the choice of a point in time often corresponds to deeper structural changes. National Geographic Briefing, April 4, 2026. Theme: the unexpected health benefits of everyday herbs. National Geographic focuses on the multiple health gains of common herbs. The core view is that plants used for seasoning are not just flavor sources but may positively impact health through natural active ingredients. Antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Common herbs are rich in phytochemicals, like polyphenol, that help clear free radicals and reduce inflammation. Metabolism and digestion. Using herbs as a low-barrier health strategy to promote digestion and balanced daily diets. Antimicrobial effects. Some herbs possess natural antibacterial properties, enhancing food safety and health. Integration. Readers are encouraged to incorporate fresh or dried herbs into daily cooking for natural gains. Important boundary. Dietary benefits are not a substitute for medical treatment. Caution is advised for those with allergies or specific medical conditions. Forbes Journal Briefing, April 4, 2026. Best Flower Delivery Services 2026, a roundup of spring delivery services, emphasizing reliability and timely experience for gifting and home decor. Pet ownership statistics, data showing the prevalence of pets in households, reflecting the sustained demand in the food, medical, and service sectors of the pet industry. Whoop Health Platform, new funding and colorful investors bring higher expectations for product vision and user experience in the wearable health sector. Remote work trends, a summary of key data showing that remote/hybrid work is still being institutionalized as companies rebalance productivity and flexibility. SpaceX IPO and Grok. Reports claim Elon Musk asked banks involved in the SpaceX IPO process to purchase Grok subscriptions, showing a strategy of binding capital operations with AI product commercialization. Fortune Journal Briefing, April 4, 2026. Business and Politics. Yale perspectives suggest a method to the madness in Trump's behavior, urging observers to focus on his strategic framework rather than emotional optics. Workplace Branding. An Ohio company ranked in the top 20 of Fortune's 2026 Best Companies to Work For, reinforcing the link between employee experience and corporate performance. Media Talent War. The Information has hired Schwartz from Fortune, signaling accelerating talent mobility in deep business reporting. Wealth and Legacy. Tiger Woods' $1.5 billion fortune faces new tests regarding asset stability and management strategies amid health and business uncertainties. Capital and Stance. Ken Griffin refuses to bend the knee to Trump, reflecting how top-tier capital emphasizes its own principles and risk boundaries in a volatile political climate. Bloomberg Businessweek Briefing, April 4, 2026. Rare Voice from China. A CCP journal called for curbing the trade surplus, seen as a response to external friction and a move toward trade rebalancing. Market sentiment weakens, stock sell-offs accelerated due to uncertainty over a ceasefire, as geopolitical risk premiums transmit to capital markets. AI in Warfare. Project Maven showcases a new stage of AI militarization, changing the pace of battlefield decision-making but bringing new ethical risks. Energy repricing. The LNG shock from the Iran conflict has not pushed Asia back to coal, suggesting short-term resilience through flexible gas sourcing. Forgotten Crisis explains oil prices. Current oil price volatility is driven by structural overlaps, supply chains, and geopolitical factors rather than a single short-term shock. Scientific American Briefing, April 4, 2026. Gambling since the Ice Age. Research suggests gambling is not a modern phenomenon but is rooted in early human risk assessment and social interaction. Who Gets to Do Science? A look at barriers to entry in the scientific community, arguing that science is not a neutral institution and is affected by systemic biases and resource allocation. The Octopus Perspective, exploring unique animal sensory mechanisms to move beyond human-centric experiences of the world. Painting Plants, using art as a bridge for science communication, making botanical forms more perceptible and emotionally resonant for the public. The Climate Cost of AI, a warning that the energy consumption and infrastructure of the AI boom could significantly increase carbon emissions. Nature Journal Briefing, April 4, 2026. Aircraft contrails. Research shows that even with low soot emissions, planes can form substantial contrails, suggesting that emission strategies need to be more nuanced. Nature Explorer Family Club, interactive content for home science education, focusing on animal signals to foster scientific thinking in youth. Creatine for Sleep. Studies suggest creatine may help offset stress and improve sleep deprivation, offering a potential non-pharmacological path for sleep issues. Clearing cellular waste. A compound that clears cellular waste shows potential in protecting neurons in models of frontotemporal dementia, FTD. Scientist Zhang Kai reports on Zhang Kai's decision to return to China to break the racial ceiling, highlighting ongoing discussions on equity and opportunity in the global scientific community. The New Yorker/New York Mag/City Journal Briefing, April 4, 2026. Technology and Persona. The New Yorker explores the machine and the woman behind it that influenced Zoran Mamdani, examining how technology intervenes in personal destiny. International Security, a profile on an individual who helped stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear bomb, highlighting the impact of specific policy actions. Education Priority, a stance from New York Mag expressing a preference for children to be in school over other alternatives, emphasizing the public value of education. Local Fiscal Debate, City Journal offers a total rejection of Mamdani's tax proposals for New York, focusing on economic feasibility. State law implementation. New York state law requires updates to dog control in Concord, showing the last-mile effect of policy. Harvard Business Review and Management Dynamics, April 4, 2026. Innovation and Silos, HBR identifying when organizational silos hinder innovation and when they provide necessary protection for specialized exploration. Workplace Resilience, Next Big Idea Club understanding the jolt threshold, the point at which a single stressful event triggers an employee's decision to quit. Management Education, Yoshi Fujikawa joins the IMD faculty, signaling a shift or expansion in the school's research and curriculum direction. Free-to-play Dilemma, Fathom evaluating whether the free-to-play business model is failing as content costs rise and conversion rates stabilize. Energy Trends, analyzing Florida gas price trends 1 month after the start of the Iran war, looking at the transmission of geopolitical risk to local markets. Vogue Journal Briefing, April 4, 2026. Easter Nostalgia, a focus on panoramic sugar eggs as a ritualistic expression of holiday tradition. Passover Recipes, favorites shared by the couples behind Katz's Delicatessen and Sababa Foods, blending tradition with daily life. Beauty and Lifestyle, Dove Cameron's day-to-night beauty routine and Sabrina Carpenter's guide to a perfect night in. Cool Girl Aesthetic, a style guide featuring Kate Moss, emphasizing effortless sophistication. Vanity Fair Briefing, April 4, 2026. Jeremy O. Harris, a first-person account of his 23-day detention in Japan. The Epstein Files, a report on how the disclosure of files perversely exposed victims rather than holding perpetrators accountable. Teyana Taylor, a soulful interview conducted alongside a gospel choir. Sydney Sweeney, a light-hearted look at her secret obsession with cheese. Nicole Kidman, behind-the-scenes secrets of her unique fashion logic and style. Rolling Stone Briefing, April 4, 2026. The Rise of Rolling Stone, a look back at the reckless and bold decisions that built the brand's cultural influence. Ringo Starr in Nashville, how the city's music community provided new creative energy for the legendary drummer. A 20-year mystery, a son's search for the truth about his missing father, highlighting the power of investigative narrative. Bruce Springsteen's Politics. During a show in Minneapolis, Springsteen confronted political reality, stating, "We have a president who can't handle the truth." Joan Baez Interview, a must-read piece linking personal history with the ethics of expression. Wired/People/Newsweek Briefing, April 4, 2026. Wired, New York agencies may now be allowed to use TikTok. Anthropic is racing to contain a code leak related to Claude AI, and scientists claim a breakthrough in French fry technology. People, reports on Russian citizens calling for the restoration of the Internet. LS3P appoints a new head of healthcare markets. Newsweek, a $2,000 birthday gift controversy sparks debate on emotional labor. Alex Jones makes a public pivot away from Trump. Aya Wilson confirms her WNBA free agency decision. The Atlantic Journal Briefing, April 4, 2026. Staffing, The Atlantic adds 4 new staff writers to bolster its reporting and commentary. Rogue Superpower, an assessment of how U.S. foreign policy actions are being viewed as increasingly unpredictable and disruptive to global order. Youth Progress, an argument that young people are falling behind due to structural social factors, not AI. Local Business, Atlantic Beach approves a third Spliffs Gastropub location. Foreign Affairs and Geopolitical Briefing, April 4, 2026. The Third Islamic Republic, Foreign Affairs analyzes the unintended consequences of war for Iran's domestic governance and the global order. Regional Coordination, China and Pakistan coordinate on Iran talks as war disrupts global trade routes. Negotiation stance. Former Iranian diplomats urge the country to use its upper hand to strike a deal with the U.S. Financial constraints. A report on how public speech regarding Gaza led to individual credit card restrictions, showing the coupling of politics and financial tools. Regional media. India launches a new edition of Business Central Asia magazine to promote regional trade narratives. Smithsonian Journal Briefing, April 4, 2026. Public education. A profile of a Smithsonian curator's passion for frogs, turning seeing into understanding for the public. Resource governance. The return of fish wheels to the Columbia River sparks debates over access rights and resource management. Cultural impact. A look at how the comic Doonesbury influenced a generation by turning current events into accessible public discourse. Civic education. A 2026 summit emphasizes connecting arts, culture, history, and science to foster better civic literacy. Space exploration. Artemis 2 is nearly ready, marking the next giant leap toward returning humans to the moon.